we're going to do more of a question and answer from Jay and I. Questions that cover identity, relationships, spiritual growth. What does it really mean to be a man of God in today's culture?
Let's just do the obvious. We don't even have to do the heart nor the mind. We could do where do they most hang out? What do they read the most? What does their screen time look like?
True.
Who are the people they spend their time with? Like all these things.
That.
Does it prove you're a man of God?
What should godly dating actually look like in 2025?
I have no idea.
I feel like
I'm trying to figure that out myself.
Like people think that they're Christian, they're not going to do anything, and then you find out they got a kid coming 2 months later. I mean, you just need to be honest, set boundaries.
I've thought about this from many different angles. Even if somebody doesn't like the boundaries God set in the Bible for marriage, don't you see how everybody else does it? It's terrible.
How do I lead without being controlling?
Oh, you got to answer that. You're pretty controlling.
I can't.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. If you're able to persevere through difficult things, which is the same when you work out, persevere through difficult weights and exercises, you will get strong.
Welcome to the Sharp Podcast. My name is Frank. I'm here with the
co-host Jay.
How do you always say co-host?
I don't know.
Episode.
So nobody thinks there's like a founder and a
we're both co-hosts.
President. Yeah.
We're co-cos.
This is partnership.
Episode 21. Today
I'm the king and you're the priest.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Oh yeah, you mentioned that before. That's true. Speaking of king, we'll talk about king stuff later. We're episode 21. Today we got a good episode for you. What we're gonna do more of a question and answer from Jay and I.
Q&A today.
Yeah, Q&A. And these are not questions. I'm just disclaimer. These are not questions anyone sent in because you guys do not engage with us online. One day we will have that by faith.
Not that many, but
this is AI who cares about us and asks us some questions. But I think they're good questions that apply to any believer, specifically people within our age range, right?
Mm-hmm.
You haven't
Can I
seen
ask
them
you
all.
a question, Frank?
Of course, always.
It's very personal.
All right,
It's
it.
Physical, actually.
Let's see.
These days, your face got shot when I said it's physical, actually. Yeah. People these days, they really want thicker eyebrows.
That's true.
I've been wanting some thicker eyebrows. I feel like my eyebrows are thin and they're not growing in. Mm-hmm. What's going on?
With mine?
How did you get them so full?
No, I was just born, but
because usually attractive people have thick eyebrows.
Well,
that's like a usual typical thing, like the vampire in Twilight.
Oh yeah,
thick eyebrows.
True. Yeah. No, I just had thick eyebrows. I got a cut right in the middle because I can form a unibrow.
Sometimes
I have that ability. Yeah.
You're kidding?
No, for real.
I've never seen that.
The other thing is I got a scar. I don't know if you can see it.
I do see a little something.
I got stitches right here. How? Funny story. I was young. I was leaving my cousin's apartment. It was a windy day. There was a storm forming. Mm-hmm. My dad ran out to go get the car because we were leaving my cousin's house. Mm-hmm. And he did not know that I was following him. And so when he opened the screen door, I was right behind him. The wind, boom,
smacked you in the face.
Right, and there was like a metal piece sticking out.
Ooh.
Cut me right there. I had to get stitches. He gave me $1 for every stitch I got, but I think it ruined the potential I could have had in my eyebrows because it kind of causes like a weird little flare. But that's my eyebrow.
How many stitches did you get?
I think more than 8.
So he gave you about $10.
Yeah.
Wow, that wasn't worth it.
So it wasn't.
As a kid, you probably thought it was worth it though.
Yeah, it wasn't worth it. But yeah.
Okay. What's the Q&A
Let's see if I have a question for you.
Off the top of the dome.
No, I don't want to. All right, yeah, let's do a question. When was the last time you went on a date?
Why you gotta ask? Why? Listen, no, wait,
so
wait.
Shy?
Before I answer this, if I answer it, why are you bringing up my dating life so much on the podcast?
I'm just curious.
Every time you do, it shocks me.
Why?
It takes me off guard.
I'm interested.
How are you? What is there to be interested in?
It'd be great to see you dating someone and just, I want to meet them one day. And you're just I would love to meet the woman.
I would love to meet her too.
Who's in a serious relationship with you. I would be curious to. That'd be good.
That would be an interesting woman, right?
Yeah, it would. So when's the last time you went on a date?
Oh God.
You can just give a month or time.
This month. In June, yeah.
In June, awesome.
Yeah.
We just started June too, not too long ago. So.
Great observation, Frank.
Good.
In case you guys haven't noticed,
Right.
Frank makes great observations.
I do.
Yep.
Well, okay. I have another question for you.
Go ahead.
On these dates, do you always
Oh my God.
Do you always go out to eat, or are you that type that does something more interactive? Not that type of interactive.
You answer first.
Physical.
You answer first, and then I'll answer. When you went on the
Dates.
first few dates with your wife,
It was eating.
it was just
It was
eating.
eating food.
What?
Never go to a movie on a first date or few dates.
That's an obvious.
Yeah,
never.
that's tips.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd go eating, but we would talk a lot. What about you?
That's not my style.
What's your style? Horseback riding or something?
Wow, Frank.
Because you've done that
riding.
before.
Frank,
George,
don't give away my secrets.
You've done that before.
Don't give away my.
I know you pretty well.
No, but you don't need to tell everybody what you know.
I know, I don't. I give them hints. And then
No
you
hints.
blow it
No
up.
hints needed. No hints needed. You know.
Do
God.
you? I have another question for you.
Well, let me
actually.
answer the first one, and the first one is that I like to do both activity and food.
Okay.
The two activities I resort to for a first and second date are more therapeutic. So things like painting, whether it's painting on a canvas or painting pottery.
Okay.
You want to know why? Because these are activities you can do and still have a conversation because it doesn't require a lot of focus.
That's good.
Shaba. I'm putting y'all on game, boy.
That's good.
But no, I do like that. I do like when people, because you engage in better conversation
of course.
when people don't feel like there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And the pressure lays off when you're doing something.
That's true.
So yeah. What was your next question?
My next question was,
how did I get stronger?
Oh no! Out of a lot of the friends that you have, or acquaintances, because I know the type of guy you are, you don't call everyone your friend.
No.
Who do you like? Who knows you best? Who would you say, like, what person? Like, is it a childhood friend? Is it someone you work with? Who do you think knows you best? Like, when I say knows you best, knows you
You
like,
might be one of them.
Currently, your past, your mannerisms, behavior, sarcasm. Who comes to mind?
You know me well. I have a friend named Jonathan that knows me well. My cousin David knows me well.
Yeah, David.
My mama knows me extremely well.
Yeah, I could see that. But not too many.
That's it. That's about it. Yeah.
That's good. All right. I'm just curious.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're more reserved.
I feel like you should be.
You should.
More reserved. Because not everyone that's around you is for you.
Yeah. That's true.
I think it's just the truth of life.
It is.
Not everybody around you is for you. I mean, Jesus picked 12 people around him, and not all of them were for him. You know, so and he's a perfect individual. So if you're not perfect, well, you should already know there's some people around you that probably they cool with you, but they not like for you. You know.
I would agree. I like that.
I got a question for you.
Do it.
If you won the lotto, well, I already know what you're gonna say, but
what?
I would like to know what other people behind the camera would say. If you won the lottery, would you give half directly to your wife, or is it just y'all's? Or would you not say anything?
No, it's both.
Would you just be like, I'm not gonna say anything because she might spend it, some of it?
No, I would.
Let's just continue living a normal life.
That's a good question. I would say it's
because you are like
it's ours.
You're the budgeter for your household.
Yeah,
you're the financial planner.
And thankfully, she doesn't like go off buying things. On her own. She usually asks me.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
That's great.
She doesn't have to, but she does. Like sometimes she'll ask me, "Can we get Netflix?" I'm like, "You're a grown woman. You can make that decision."
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want her to feel like she can't buy anything without me. But she knows that we do have a plan right now. But no, she's really responsible, and
that's good.
I would love for her.
So you won 200 million. You just come up and be like, girl,
yeah,
we rich.
We came up. She'd probably want me to buy a house.
First thing,
yeah.
Where do you think she'd want you to buy a house? Suburbs, city?
No, city. But she would want like this house to have everything she dreamed of.
Yeah,
and pool. It's not a big dream, like a porch.
A
nice
porch?
Yard. Yeah, a nice
Is that what you just said?
Yeah, a porch.
A nice porch.
Nice yard.
Y'all are dreaming like slaves.
We are. We don't have. We like the simple
air
life.
Conditioning.
Yes.
Yeah. A dishwasher.
Yeah. She would want a working dishwasher. I mean, we have one. I choose not to use it because I'm always afraid I'm going to come home to a swimming pool.
Yeah. I judge people who use a dishwasher. If I'm
old fashioned.
Yeah.
We have air conditioning, but it just went out last summer, so a bit expensive to fix.
You're kidding.
Yeah, they quoted me for like $2,000 and $10,000. So I was like,
that's a big gap.
I went to Menards the next day and bought me some window units.
Oh, okay.
That's what I did.
2 to 10? What kind of a gap is that?
Because we're on the second floor and it's on top of the roof. So if they fix little parts, it's not guaranteed it's gonna stay working because it's older. So if I bought a new one, that would be the cost of even getting a permit and then the lift to get. So it's a nightmare.
Got it. Wow.
But if there's a generous viewer who wants to donate, I'm open to receiving that.
God will supply.
But yeah, definitely. And he'll use a generous donor. I'm not limiting him. Yeah, hey baby. What did they say? Money, Brian Carn. What's his name?
Brian Carn.
Money.
That's enough, Ray. That's
enough. I'm just
you
kidding.
dropping names.
I'm dropping names.
Brian Carn.
But money coming to me now. All right.
Bro,
oh man, I remember that
guy. You
just
name dropped Brian Carn.
I don't know what that man's doing nowadays, but
he ain't doing nothing.
But I remember some good ways, right? To what they call it? To receive the blessing.
Receive the blessing.
All right. Anyways, let's go into. So we got some good questions here. Questions that cover identity, relationships, spiritual growth. So we'll just hit a few. We're not gonna do. I'm gonna keep track of time here. Let's ask you the first question though, and you can start us off with the answer. What does it really mean to be a man of God in today's culture? What does that mean? A man of God. That's a good question. AI.
What does it mean to be a man of God?
Yeah.
That's how the Africans used to say it in Bible college. I'm a man of God.
I remember.
To be a man of God, I mean, number one, you should be, I think in simple terms, this should just be obvious the effort you're putting in to getting to know God. It should be obvious. It should be obvious, like, you ain't in the club no more. You know, people don't see you drunk in the streets no more. You know, you ain't on here, have 5 different girlfriends at one time. You ain't, you're not, it should be obvious. Oh, man, I don't see Frank around no more. I don't see George around. Like, you're not around those places anymore because you're trying to get closer to God. Yeah. People should, like, see the little glimpses of effort you're putting. Like, it should be obvious. Yeah. In other words, what I'm trying to say is, to be a man of God, if you were to go to a courtroom, and I go to courtrooms all the time for work, a lawyer or a team needs to present a valid case of evidence that this person is actually guilty of what they're being accused of. So if somebody called you a man of God, what evidence is there to show? That's good. Let's just do the obvious. We don't even have to do the heart nor the mind. We could do, where do they most hang out? What do they read the most? What does their screen time look like? True. Who are the people they spend their time with? Yeah. How do they treat the people they spend their time with? Yeah. Do they tip? Do they tithe? What, like, all these things. Does it prove you're a man of God? That's so good. I don't have much to add. I would say yes, I agree. If I did have to add, to be a man of God in today's culture, I think you're not gonna blend in, and that's everything you said. To be a man of God, like, you shouldn't be doing what all your friends are doing, especially if they're not men or women of God.
So I think that's just so simple. It's like counter-cultural, and that's essentially what your life has to look like. It doesn't have to be torturous, or it doesn't have to be a bad life, but it's just like all these trends and fads. It's not what you're chasing, and you shouldn't be involved in.
Right.
That's what I would say.
I do want to add this though, because I know when I used to think of a man of God, I used to think of somebody who's isolated, fasting 3 days out of the week. You know, he doesn't have I don't know, his perfect diet. He's boring. He's irrelevant, unrelatable. You can't have fun around him. Like, no. All those things, they're not mutually exclusive. Yeah. You know, number one. Number two is that I'm a Christian. I still have a good time with life. Yeah. Like, I'm still crack jokes. Yeah. I'm still relatable. I still go out to play sports. Yeah. I still talk trash when I play sports. Exactly. It's not violent talking trash. No. It's polite talking trash. Yeah. You know, like your feet are slow, or your ankle and your belly is big. You can't keep up. Things like that, you know. But I'm not, you know, but I definitely don't do what I used to do. Yeah. That's a drastic difference. It is. You know, but no, life isn't boring. I'm on Netflix every now and then. Yeah. I go to the pool with friends and family. That's good. You know, we have a good time. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think that's important. I think that's really important. Now, some people's good time, let's be honest, some people have a good time. They used to have a good time taking ecstasy. Yeah. You can't do that no more. No, you can't be taking ecstasy. You can't be popping pills left and right. You just that's not the fun we have anymore. Yeah, it's not. My dad actually says that's why he believes a lot of Christians gain a lot of weight because they think eating is having a good time. Yeah. I think he's right. Bro, I've gained a lot of weight since Bible college. Yeah, he has a good point. It's a very good point there. I'm going to say that. No, for real. I mean, why are Christians always trying to go out to eat, bro? There's more to do in life than go out to eat. Yeah, I mean, we go for walks, we work out, we like to do active things. And we live in a city where there's a lot to do. There is. Well, in the summer. In the winter, it's not. It involves money. Yeah. But we have a lot to do. That's true. Yeah, I would agree. Well, let me ask you a question about relationships. What should godly dating actually look like in 2025? I have no idea. I feel like I'm trying to figure that out myself. That's a good point. It's difficult. And you're in the dating scene. I would say for me, what dating should look like in today's world, 2025, for a Christian, I think boundaries is important. I think that's important. I think that's the best thing I can give you. That's good, Pastor. I don't know what dating's gonna look like, but I do know the standards, and I think having boundaries is really important. I think that a man shouldn't be alone if he desires a woman. I think that's important. But what I'm saying is, like, don't get in a relationship because you're gonna use a girl. But if you have these urges, put yourself out there. See if there's someone compatible. And then I would also say, like, dating in this world, you don't have to date for a set amount of time. I think that's the other thing. Some people date and they're like, I got to date just like my uncle dated this girl for 5 years before we can get married. Like, I'm just saying, like, there's probably someone who did that. No, I've met a lot of people that still believe that. So just 3 to 5 years. Date till you know it's ready. It can be 3 months, it can be 6 months, it can be a year. But let me tell you that when you make that decision, it's going to be on you. If you make a mistake, I don't believe in like divorcing just because you disagree. Yeah, you gotta make sure you make the right decision, work things out. But yeah, I think just date, have boundaries though. You shouldn't be sleeping over each other's house. You shouldn't be, sex before marriage. You shouldn't even be having these conversations with your partner, like, how far can we go? Mm-hmm. When you have those conversations, no, but for real, like, those are things that come up in a Christian opening doors dating world. We are human. We have urges. We know you and your girlfriend just went to church. You came back to your house. You're in your room. Doors locked. I'm coming back to my house. There's a lot of bad things that can happen. So you need boundaries to avoid putting yourself in these situations. That's what I would say. Perfect. And it's real. I mean, it's real. Said. Like, people think that
they're Christian, they're not gonna do anything, and then you find out they got a kid coming 2 months later. I mean, you just need to be honest, set boundaries.
Baby mama
boundaries
drama.
Are healthy. Boundaries are important.
I've thought about this from many different angles.
Yeah.
Okay, even if somebody doesn't like the boundaries God set in the Bible for marriage and getting to know the opposite sex, don't you see how everybody else does it? It's terrible.
Yeah. Learn from others.
Baby mamas, baby daddies, STDs, emotional attachments. It's traumatizing.
Yeah, it is.
Like, this is some of the biggest, most dramatic issues in our world.
That's true.
It ruins people's lives for them to connect with people they shouldn't be connecting with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do y'all want that? Do I want that? Do anybody dating wants that?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I would say
you don't want that smoke.
Like, when I was dating, before I met my wife now.
Yeah.
But when I was dating, even if I was talking to a girl, right, there are two things that I feared. The first thing wasn't really like a big fear, but it was like you wake up and you got the ick. You ever heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
I've felt it.
Me too. Like that was one of my fears, like getting involved with the girl and then I wake up with an ick. Like, and I would get that often, especially if I was talking to a girl late at night. I felt like it was God. Like, just I woke up and he was like, "You got no business with that." Made me feel some type of way.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing was, even in dating, it was just like waking up, even like not having like sex with the girl, right? But say I went out, we went to the movies, whatever. Maybe I kissed her, but then like waking up the next morning and being like, if I would have gone further than I should have. Imagine if this girl has my child one day and I don't want anything to do with her. That was like my biggest fear. Was like, what if I get involved with this girl who's just fun, but I know I have no plans with, and I do something stupid at a moment of weakness, and now I'm attached to this girl the rest of my life.
Rest of your life.
Bro, that is scary to me. I'm sorry.
That would frightening.
That put fear in my life.
Frightening. Terrifying.
Bro, I'd have nightmares of that. I'd have nightmares waking up being like, imagine if this girl was the mother of my child one day. Like, I got no way of escaping. Terrifying. That's scary. So
that is terrifying.
That was
that's been one of my biggest fears too. I can't. I wouldn't even, I don't
scary.
even know if I'd want to live.
It's scary, man.
Yeah. Can't do it, won't do it.
It's scary. All right, what about this question? Okay, how do I lead without being controlling?
Oh, you got to answer that.
How do I
don't lead nobody.
Honestly, I mean, this is a tough question. How can I lead without being controlling?
You're pretty controlling.
I can.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, I think that, whether you're in the church, whether you're in a relationship, and you have the leadership position, whether you're, working, have a job, I think that as a man, sometimes you do want to lead, and sometimes it can be overbearing and can feel like you're controlling people.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I would say the easiest and best tip I can give you is put yourself in other people's shoes. I think whenever I have interactions with people at any capacity, if I feel like I was too rough, I kind of replay the scenario or replay the conversation and think, did I handle that well? How did I respond? Would I have liked it? That helps me to not be controlling, because I think sometimes in leadership, you do have to put the people on the right path, but you can't force them on the right path. But I think there's a difference of trying to get them on the right path in a not so forceful way, like a graceful way, and then letting it be their decision at the end of the day. But I just think like you can't control people. You got to learn. Like when you're putting too much pressure on people. I think you got to let people make mistakes. That's so important.
Right.
Let people make mistakes. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a tough question. Like, how to lead without being controlling.
I could articulate how you do things. I think, now you let me know if this is unfair of me to say, but I think it's pretty obvious that you do a good job at leading with a hand of influence. That's your primary method.
Okay.
I've seen it at work, which means that You're not forcing anything.
Yeah.
You're first leading by example, and secondly, you're hoping God gives you a gift where you can sway people without even telling them anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I've seen you do this at work.
Thanks.
Or not at work, but at work in you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty obvious when anybody meets you.
That's good.
So I wouldn't say you're controlling at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. But what have you ever felt like you were in a position where maybe you can relate to this question? Because I know you have.
How do I lead without controlling?
Yeah, without being controlling.
I don't lead anything, but if I
well, can I say this? I'm sorry to cut you off.
What are you gonna? Depends what you're gonna say.
I feel like you I feel like you're the type of leader, and I don't think it's bad. That when you're leading, if people don't want to go, you're like, forget you, I'm just gonna do it on my own. I don't need you. But it's not like in a malicious way.
I'm the MJ type of leader.
I think you're like, I can get it done with you.
No, because now this is true. This is true because I know for a fact. I hope it doesn't sound arrogant, but I know for a fact that when I put my mind to something, that like God has given me this, I don't know if it's a grace or a gift, or I just almost always can accomplish it. Like I know what direction I'm going in. I know I'm going to be relentless, and I know I'm going to do it with like a type of personality trait that just pursues to do it excellent. And if nobody else wants to join that boat, then kudos to you, dog.
That's true.
Do it slower. Do it more mediocre. Do it with half effort. Do it, you know, with a more patient route. But that's not the way I approach things.
Yeah.
You know, if God gave us a formula to get to heaven quicker, I would do it.
Yeah.
That's the type of guy I am.
Yeah.
I would be there right now. Yeah. If he said it's going to take you 60 years, but if you do it this fast, you can do it in 30. I'd be there. That's just the type of mind I have.
I like this question too, because it goes into masculinity and like leadership and stuff. What does it mean to be spiritually strong, not just physically strong?
Spiritually strong.
Yeah, because I feel like that ties into what we were just talking. I didn't want to lose my train of thought. That's a good question though. Like to be spiritually strong.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think spiritually and physically strong can be cohesive.
Yeah.
Meaning you get there the same way.
Yeah.
Consistency. If you're able to persevere through difficult things, which is the same when you work out, persevere through difficult weights and exercises, you will get strong. Now, that's way easier said than done.
Yeah.
I mean, when life is lifing, you feel like there's no options, no support, no alternatives, and you feel like you got smacked in the face, and that's hard. That's hard to deal with, whether it's heartbreak or loss of a loved one or financial stress. Difficult times produce strong spiritual people. Yeah. Especially if during those difficult times they're strictly focusing on how can I trust in God through this.
That's important. That's what I would say too, like spiritually strong and not physically strong is your response to what you go through. Right. You just said it perfectly. You know, trusting God in it. I think a spiritually strong person isn't going to focus on what they can do. Right. Or, you know, what's within their grasp to fix a situation. To me, a spiritually strong person is always going to go to God, is always going to seek his direction. I think a spiritually strong person is going to know what they can control and what they can't control. They're going to go to their word. You know, these like biblical and spiritual principles that we learn almost through a discipleship course when we walk with Jesus, that's going to be so evident. Right. I think being physically strong always has a countdown, a clock. I think you can only be physically strong to a certain point. I don't think you're always going to be physically strong.
You get old.
Yeah. So
we're getting old, bro.
But what's crazy is if you think about it, when you're building your spiritual strength or being spiritually strong, it's almost like you only get stronger.
Right.
Where in the physical,
there's no limit in the spirit.
Yeah, but in the spiritual, it just has no limit.
Right. The Bible says our latter days will be greater than our former days.
That's true.
You know, so things only get better for people who trust God.
Yeah.
Who practice that.
Yeah. Let's end with this last question.
Let's do it.
Is it okay to go to therapy and still trust God?
Okay. I suggest it.
Why?
Well, first of all, scripture backs it up. I think it's a proverb. Yeah, it is a proverb. It says, in the presence of many counselors, there's victory in war.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're going out to war.
No.
I'm just saying that when you want to do something right, you usually have a lot of people around you that is able to give you advice.
Yeah.
And that could be a therapist. That could be your mom.
Yeah.
That could be your pastor. Whatever shape or form they take, I think a therapist is a good place to add to your people you want to talk to.
Yeah.
Especially a Christian counselor.
That's true.
If you're a believer.
Yeah. Especially, too, I agree with you. And some people don't have anyone that they can talk to. And relationship, as we know, is so important. Community is so important. So if you're not being plugged into a church, definitely go see a therapist. So someone you can really open up to, but then also receive like some guidance, right? Especially from someone who is a professional and knows what they're doing. Now, my advice to you would be, if you get plugged, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but if you get plugged into a church, essentially you can have free therapy because you can build relationships with people. Your pastor can be your therapist depending on what kind of church you go to.
That's true.
But you can really have someone to talk to. And like you mentioned in that verse, you need guidance in life, and you need wise counselors to help you in it. And so, I mean, when you go to a church, there's leaders that can help you. You know? Free therapy to me.
You said
free therapy. No,
so
but
for those of you with
important.
No insurance,
yes, go to church.
Go to church.
Yeah,
it's free.
But no,
therapy.
I don't think you should look at it as a bad thing or you doubting God because you go to therapy.
No,
I think it's so important. It's so important to share your thoughts and to think things through and to hear different perspectives.
Right.
It's so important.
Why do some people think it's a sin to think, to use your brain?
I don't know. That's a good question.
You know,
why?
God gave you this brain for a reason.
Yeah. No, that's true. You ever get in like a conversation with someone and you like question something they've always, thought to be true, and just because you question it, they think you're crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't we question stuff?
Yeah.
I'm convinced that God seeks for our questioning, and he doesn't mind it as long as we bring it to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as we bring the skepticism to him.
Yeah.
And not any other source. You know, he wants us to talk to him and plead with him and discuss with him. But skepticism or curiosity is not evil.
No, it's not.
All right, y'all, we're going to wrap it up here. Great Q&A, Frank.
Great.
I appreciate those questions. We're gonna do more. We should do more videos like that, actually. Yeah. But next time we do a video like that, we'll have some guests. Like maybe 3 or 4 chairs involved. Yeah, that'd be dope. So like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys have any questions or comments on topics, please write it in the comment section. Okay? So see you on the next video.
Bye.
Peace.